Hello everybody, welcome to our TM1py tutorial video number 2. So today we're going to teach you a little bit more about how to get into TM1py, build some base, as well as piecing the bigger picture together. Thank you for joining me. My name is John. Thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you first to everyone who's been giving me kind messages and support. I'm pleasantly surprised that you guys are interested in this content. It was just a pet project because I like this kind of stuff, but I didn't expect people would actually like it as well. So I didn't really plan this very well, and of course a lot of things happened since December. So my apologies on this delay. I promise things will be a little bit faster because I've got a lot of gear since the last time when I did the video, and because I've got gear I gotta do it. So thank you for tuning in. Now, I want to also remind you, if you haven't seen the last video, then check it out. Or it's been such a long time since the last video, you might want to just get over the key points or get your note back on how to install TM1py, the basics of that. And because today we're going to jump into the coding side, right? Now, a couple of things is worth mentioning, I think. The first one is, Marius has dropped a new version, or the community of TM1py dropped a new version of TM1py 1.6 a few weeks back. Now, if you haven't installed it, do install it, because otherwise you might be seeing some scripts or other people doing something with TM1py, you paste them into your environment, it doesn't work because you got the wrong version of script. Upgrading is going to take a few seconds only, and I'm going to cover it in this video as well, so yeah, make sure you do that part. So do that, and it's got a whole lot of new features, so check that out. Actually, I'm thinking to talk to Mario about this myself. So if you are interested, but you are one of those people that can't be bothered reading technical documentation or documentation, I guess stay tuned. I'll do another video about the new features of TM1py 1.6. Well, besides new version of PAW, which is outside the scope of this video, there's been something pretty cool. It's called Beyond the Spreadsheet. Now that's a documentary about TM1 mini prez. Check it out, it's pretty cool. So I guess you're here because you like TM1 or you like TM1py and you want to add more value to TM1. For me, I love TM1, and learning the back ends of it a little bit more is always fascinating. It's very well made. I've had a sneak preview. If you know the right people too, maybe you'll get invited to a sneak preview as well at one point. Now I just want to bring this to your attention, so if you don't trust me and what I just said, there is a documentary called Beyond the Spreadsheet. So if you type that in, you can have a look at the teaser or preview. Yep, just landed a few weeks ago, so it's brand new. If you don't know about it, no problem. Yeah, check it out. Very cool stuff. Beyond the Spreadsheet. Oh, I'm not going to spoil it for you, so go and watch it. All right, now let's dive into TM1py. Now, a quick recap. What we're trying to do is we don't want to overwhelm anybody, because this should be a fun and a meaningful activity to upskill your TM1py, add more value to your TM1 system, and to frame it is TM1 is really good at what it does already. You know, budgeting, reporting, forecasting, integration, data transformation, exporting, full cloud integration, all that stuff is really cool. A lot of other tools can't even get to this step where TM1 is at already, right? So having the ability to get to the next level of TM1py is what this video is all about. And so I hope you agree with me, and if you don't agree, challenge me, put it in the comments below, let's talk about it. Now, next thing, because we want TM1py to add more value, so you won't typically do the same thing as you do with TM1. I mean, yeah, once again, that might be another video, what you put into TM1py, what you keep in TI and rules. Okay, that's another discussion. But things that require maybe 10 or 20 lines of code to be done in a TI or Turbo Integrator script, you could probably do it in TM1py with just a few lines. In those cases, Python is the way to go. All right, so that's the context. And here, what we're trying to do is we want, as an end user in TM1, looking at TM1 model, in my cube, I want to go to the cloud, grab some data, process it, put it back into cube, in one go, seamless, right? Now that in any database tool, that could be a bit hard because you need integration, and depending on what tool you use, you might need a little or a lot of integration. TM1, you need a little bit of integration, but you still need that integration. That's why TM1py is really good for that, because it even cuts that a little bit off, shave it to just a thin layer, right? Now what we want to do here is to show you how that works. So to backtrack now, let's start from the basics. If you don't remember, let's run TM1py with command prompt. So you go Windows key E, and then type CMD or Windows R. Sorry, you go Windows R, type in command CMD for command prompt. Once you're there, first thing we want to do is update TM1py. So we go pip install TM1py -- upgrade. Now mine, as I mentioned to you before, it's done already, so there we go. But for you, you'll be downloading some new things. Okay, once that's done, what you want to do is open the development front end to get some Python scripting going. I'm gonna be silent for a moment to see if you remember. No? Okay. So that would be Jupyter Notebook. Once you type it in, it's going to fire up. It's going to come and open a browser. So I'm going to skip to the browser. Ding 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 ding. Right, now I'm in the folder location of what I want to do. Now, because you see I've just done something here before, I just did a video, but my mic wasn't working, so I'm doing another one. That's why these timestamps. But essentially, this is where you have your work. I recommend you to create a folder where you're going to keep all your work and separate them into different folders. If you're testing things, put them into a folder. If you're productionizing things, put them in a different folder, because you do want to manage these scripts early, get into a good habit. All right, so these are where your script's going to be. We're going to go through a couple of basic scripts to get you to a place where you're comfortable to start doing cool stuff with TM1py. All right, so the first thing I want to look at is have a look at the script. All right, so here I've got TM1py import TM1 services, import config parser from TM1 services, import TM1 services. What that really means is import TM1 services. Okay, once we've done that, it also does something called a config parser, but you don't need it. Let me explain. If you have a look at this part, you see one is config parser, the other one is doing it by hand, right? Now, it's important to know both, and what they mean is config parser is where it keeps your credentials. So there's sometimes it's definitely not applicable for you to store your credentials in a script. In my case, I don't want to show you or the internet what my credentials to my TM1 server is, so I'm going to hide it inside a config file called config.ini. In your case, when you productionize it, same concept, because you do not want hardcode stuff in your production environment that's just sitting inside a script, right? You want to protect those. Now, as you're developing, however, you don't need to make it more complicated, so you can just type them in. Address, port, user, password, and we went over some of this last time, but anyway, you'll do that and then do some meaningful stuff in your script. Now, if you're using hard code, you would do this. If you're not hard coding using TM1 servers, it might look something like this. Okay. Now, sorry guys, I decided not to type everything out unless I have to, because I have asked a few friends. It's decided that it's not a good idea to watch people type. So I'm going to spare you from that. But if you decide, John, I really like to watch you type, leave me a message. I'll check that out next time I'll type it out for you. All right, so if we have a look at our prepare script, let's quickly run these. So if you don't remember, just hit Shift Enter, Shift Enter, Shift Enter to process them. So now once I have that, I can now run my, sorry, because these are dummy variables. So yeah. Because I don't want to show the internet my credentials, remember? So of course no connection could be made. But if I run this one and then now run this one, and run this now, it's going to give me the data in my cube. Simple. All right, so quickly go through what that means is once I've connected to the TM1 service, which is super easy by the way. So once you put in your credentials, you can start doing meaningful things with it, like pulling data back out of TM1. So in this case, I use a data frame pivot function. I'm going to take you through that briefly later today. Okay, once I've done that, you tell the cube name and of course the view name, otherwise how does it know? And last but not least, you got to give it a private or public view because there's a different version of that, right? Once you've got that, you can just shift enter whatever the object you call it. So for example, this could be John, right? Execute that. So John is storing all of that data. Now if I type John here, yeah, there we go. Yep. So once I've got my data, I can now do meaningful things with it, and this is where TM1 is great at complementing TM1. So for example, describe basic stuff statistically. Python is really good at that. Python's really good at that. So TM1py gives you access to all those libraries. So for example, because now I've got the data using connecting to TM1, but I can now use Python script to describe this, and it will give me, sorry, not that one. It's John, right? John. Describe John, okay? John's count is 13,000. Right, so they're definitely cool things you can do. I'm not going to go too deep into the functions of Python because I don't have enough time for that. Yeah, you're going to be sitting here watching me for hours, so I'm going to chunk that down. Today, know this. This is how you connect to TM1. Now I've skipped something, so let's go into the details of where you find the good stuff. Now I'm going to do this together with you, so to prove how easy it is to find them. So first, just Google that, TM1py GitHub. Now this is also the place that Myris will probably point you to. If you go to Myris and go, can you help me with this? Well, of course he is a real nice guy, so he'll probably help you. But likely he's busy, so he's just going to point you to this place. So this is where the good stuff in TM1py sits. The guys at Cubase Codes have hosted this for free. Awesome, yeah. So now this is the script that I copy and paste before, and this is what I want to show you. All right, so you want to copy and paste that into, well, let's start fresh, right? I want to walk you through how to do this. Python 3, yep, create new script, paste that in. Yeah, cool. Now the next thing is you need to import that Python, right? Remember, yeah. So let's go back in here and do that. Go to my script. That's what you need. You don't even need config parser until you productionize it, or unless you're advanced user. Simple, right? Now, depending on, I mean, I'm not going to type anything in here. You're not going to trick me, internet. You're not going to trick me, right? I'm not going to type anything in here, but in your case, type in your admin host, your port, username, and password. Make sure you set the SSL as well. So in your environment, if your TM1 web starts with HTTPS, that's an indicator. But I mean, it's easy to try, right? Just turn it to true, turn it to false, see if it works. All right, once that's done, you want to run that subset. Oh, I mean, you can do whatever you want. So I'm going to point you to where I suggest you go next, right? So instead of flying blind, which of course you can, is to go through this. This is the purpose of these videos. I probably went a bit too fast because I talk so much. I'm not used to talking and videoing and operating the computer at the same time. Yeah. Okay, so scroll down, all the way down from the GitHub page. You should see this TM1py samples link. Click into that. That's where all the good stuff is. Now, inside there's a lot of info. Of course, you can read all of that, or you can follow me, right? Click on data. Check out this example called cube_write_data. Okay, I'm going to copy that into our script. So you can do it together with me, or you can play this video and do it together. All right. Looks like that. So I'm going to cut off this part because I don't need that. We've already imported TM1 service. I don't need that. I'm not using TM1 config parser. I don't need that. But I'm going to delete that as well because you can't have comments like that, or I mean you can comment it out like this. But yeah, delete that, delete this. Okay. All right, delete that. We're not using config parser, or keep it, whatever. Now I have that. I'm going to replace this with this info. Yes. Once again, you can't trick me, internet. I'm not putting my credentials and credit card details online. All right, but let's talk out what this does once you've filled this in. So you want to create a container, right? That's like you have a drink you want to consume, or you want to do something meaningful with, put into a vessel. So that's what cell set does, creates that vessel. Now we want to populate that vessel. So add that coffee into your cup, right? And so that's a cell set equals something. So that is populating this vessel. Now, how you populate this vessel depends on the cube that you're writing into. So if you think about your basic GL cube, the simplest sense, you might have a 5 to 6 dimension cube. You probably have a version because you've got actual budget forecast, right? You probably have accounts, chart of accounts. You have a time dimension, so it could be year and month, 2021, April. And the next one, it could be a department, right? Finance or head office. And then you might have a currency. It could be local currency, AUD, USD, whatever that is. Now, if you're going to write into that cube, you've got to tell the code, the computer specifically, where to write, because you don't want it to write 2, 3, 1, 2 anywhere or just randomly into your cube, right? It has to be specific. So that's where you key them all in. This would follow the dimension order of your cube. So for example, if the first argument in your cube is a version, you'll put your version in. So let's write one together. Once again, I'm going to show you my cube, but for example, if I have a, sorry, getting a bit ahead of myself about security. Yeah, these days it is a big issue. All right, I'm going to write into my daily rates cube because I've got a bunch of exchange rates I wanted to populate into. So I'm going to go the date is going to be today is going to be 2020. See, that's why we don't type live. 2021 March. Today is Saturday, so it's going to be 6th, right? So that's that. And then my next data point is going to be, it's going to be on Ethereum because it's hot, and Bitcoin. And then I'm going to write into a measure called maybe opening, right? Open. And the value could be, I don't know, 0.02. And I'm just making stuff up now because I'm really not sure. Sorry, yeah, if I put the wrong number here for Ethereum fans. Yeah. Now, of course, you're going to set that, so you type equal. Once you've got that, you can use this function called tm1.cube.cells.write values, right? So that's where we've copied it. Once you've populated all your data set, right, your data points with the values, you can push into a cube. So you just hit Shift Enter, bang, it's going to write all these numbers into your cube. Magic, right? Now, you may not believe me, so we don't do smoking mirrors, so let me show you what it can potentially look like. Now I'm going to skip a lot of complexities here because this is a production ready piece of code, so we're not going to go through everything, because if anyone tells you they've got something that can help you go production ready within 30 minutes, they're lying. Yeah, that's the sales pitch. It's not real. Stay away from those. Okay, let's get back into the cool stuff. So here, see what I'm doing here is after I grab the data from Binance, yeah, because that's our example, do some meaningful stuff with it. We're going to talk about that later. But the key thing is once I've set this cell set, remember this vessel, yeah, once I fill that vessel, please push it into the daily rate cube. And that's what it's doing, right? So let's have a look at TM1. Let's jump into TM1 and have a look. Now, because I'm not going to show you my personal details, I love to use this tool. So I'm going to show you this tool instead. It's called Arc for TM1. If you don't know what that is, put that into your Google, Arc for TM1. I love this tool because of autocomplete and the way you see the code for rules and TI is just, I love it. Yeah, so that's what I use. I'm just telling you up front, if this looks different to your interface, it's okay. All right, but what I want to show you is I'm looking at the cube called daily rates cube inside my model called crypto. And yeah, I've got date. Oh, I got to log in. Okay. Did I just show you my login details? I'm going to cut that out. So back to you. So I'm just showing you what it looks like inside the cube. So in my daily rates cube, this is what this looked like. Now, okay, well, great, John. Where are you going with this? So let me show you. This is the code in the backend that triggers from TM1, runs a Python script, grabs data from the internet, do meaningful things of it, and then load it back into TM1. Or in here. 4 lines of code, right? Providing you've got the Python code. So first thing we want to look at is execute command. So execute command looks like this. Yeah. Execute command, give it the command, and then tell it what it's, the waiting parameter. So I just put 1, it's pretty standard. Execute command, you can, just like a shell script or for non-IT people, you tell it what's the file that you're running, and then if that executable allows you to put parameters in, you can put them in. So in this case, the Python executable allows you to run a script. Just like if you use a command prompt to run an Excel application, you can give it parameters as well, right? So that's what execute command, and then I'm building this string, right? Okay, let's go through it. Yeah, no smoking mirrors. So my script is where I've installed Python. So if you follow my tutorial last time, that's exactly what it looks like. And then I got to give it the full path of where Python is. So to demonstrate that, I'm going to show you here. So my Python script in the C drive, TM1 crypto TM1py, and this is the script name, right? This is the script name. Binance download single data asset v1. Yep, that's exactly where that is. Okay, I'm going to move that out of the way because it's irrelevant now. So we're telling Python to run that script, and basically that could be the end of it. But I want to show you a real example because someone did ask in the comment last time, so I'm listening. So I show you an example of how you can parameterize it, because if you can't parameterize these scripts, it's not production ready. It's just smoke and mirrors, well, most of the time, not all the time. So this is how you parameterize it. It's separated by spaces, so that's why I am adding a space into my string, or actually 2 spaces, and I'm going to give it different parameters. Now if I refer it back to my bigger picture script, right at the top, that's where you go, boom. All right, I'm going to copy that into my script just so I can show you. Right, months, how many months to run? It's going to take the system arguable, the first argument. So now if I look at that compared to my TI, this is my first argument, argv1, and this is argv2. So go wild. If you get this concept, you can have as many as you want. But 2 is enough for me because sometimes I forget to update my crypto database. Sometimes I do. So yeah, keep that in mind. And symbol, because I don't want to download all the symbols. I download some for fun, but there's so many coins out there. I don't want to download everything. And I guess in your case, if you're downloading things from the internet, particularly like exchange rates, not even crypto, but just getting exchange rates, you probably don't want to download the whole world's exchange rate. You probably want to download USD, I guess NZD, China Yen, and a whole bunch of others, right? So that's where I parameterize that symbol. So now let's run this. I want to show you how this works. Okay, so I'm going to hit this first so you can see what it looks like. It's going to prompt me for 2 parameters because I asked for 2 parameters in the code, if you remember. How many months and what's the symbol that we're uploading. So in the example, if we are doing Ethereum to Bitcoin, let's have a look at that first. Okay, so I'm looking at Ethereum Bitcoin now. I'm going to delete all of this data. Okay, hit recalc. Now this is empty. So for argument's sake, I'm going to put 99999. Yep, and these are blank. Yep. So if I refresh, recalculate this cube view. Yep, these are blank. Let's go to Binance. All right, execute. Loaded me the last 4 months, or how many of the months. I'm gonna run that now. You can see it's now doing everything in the back end, and it's taking just about 6 seconds or under 6 seconds to grab all the data from Binance, manipulate the metadata, push the data into TM1. Okay, so let's execute it, refresh, boom! Did you see it? Did you see that? Okay, so I'm going to delete this again because I love proving there's no smoking mirrors here. Yep. Okay. Oh, did I delete that? Yes, I did. Yep. You can see there's a whole bunch of numbers missing here. All right, let's go back, and if I run this exact script again, because it's BTC, yeah, I want you guys to match this name just to prove I'm not cheating. Yeah, this is the script that I'm running, right? The script that I'm running. I'm going to run this. And yep, 5th, 26th, bang, right? So you see how that works now. I guess the last thing is, well, you say it's no smoking mirrors, we're running this script v1. Well, what is v1? Well, let's talk through it end to end, because that's what I intend to do today as well. So this is the gigantic script. And this is exactly the same script here, yeah, that I pasted into here before. Oh, sorry, yeah, this one. So why I'm showing you this is because I want to show you the workflow of what it would look like if you were developing end-to-end using Python, TM1py, and whether you use Argonaut doesn't matter. So you would code your stuff using a development platform, Jupyter Notebook, do that. Of course, you can go the next step and download other stuff, but regardless, once you have your script, all you need to do, okay, this is what we're saying, all you need to do, copy your entire script, go to your Server Explorer, yeah, create a new one, new, boom. Oh, sorry, don't create a new folder. Create a new text file and call it anything. Open it, paste your script in, yep, paste your script in, save as, go, YouTube sample. Make sure you hit all files, yeah, YouTube samples.py, because you don't want to run a text file, you want to run a TM1py file. Okay, bing, that's done. Now once you have that TM1py file, providing your script actually works, yeah, you can now point your script inside the Turbo Integrator, which is this window, to look at that script, and you execute command. Bob's your uncle. Well, Bob's not your uncle, but there you go. Voila. Yep. So that's end-to-end how that works. So hopefully I can demonstrate it's not actually that hard to get started if you do it bit by bit, and it shouldn't be daunting, because that's what this whole series is designed to do, to ease you into this. Okay, now let's recap quickly and then we can wrap up. The first thing is install TM1py, update that first. Second thing, make sure you update TM1py and then open up your favorite IDE. Yeah, that works. If you have installed Jupyter Notebook, then do that. If you install other IDE like Charm, okay, do that. If you use Visual Studio or whatever platform you want to use, go with that. Stick with one until you get really comfortable. Otherwise, in my experience and my friend's experience, you could end up spending a lot of time debugging the interface, but not the fun stuff, which adds no value really to your learning process. So stick with what works, and that's super important. Don't change development interface halfway through unless you've got a compelling reason to, or if you have a lot of confidence or a lot of time. All right. Next thing, open up your Jupyter Notebook, and if you follow example, cut and paste some simple code that works. And where you cut and paste them from, go to GitHub. First of all, go to the TM1py GitHub first. Yep. You can download some samples, you can have a look at a whole bunch of cool stuff, but essentially copy that. Copy the TM1 service. script. Scroll all the way down, go to TM1py samples. After that, go into samples, or if you can go to data. Yeah, go to data first, sorry. Samples is more advanced. Yeah. Go to data, pick one that you like the description of, or have a read of that. I would recommend the cube underscore right underscore data. Click into that. If you're cool with how that works, paste into your code, right? And then start manipulating it, write some data into TM1. Test it inside your Python script, which is hitting Shift Enter, running it. If I run now, it would fail because these are not real, right? Yeah. And here's one other thing. Yeah, here's one other thing. If you run a script and it doesn't work, read the description. Don't be shy, okay? Because this is telling me exactly what I need to know. Not all the stuff, right? Not all the fancy stuff up here. Just read that last line. It's saying, I'm trying to connect the local host via port 80, doesn't work. That's because it's not my port. And that's what I don't want to show you, yep. But you know, that's how you debug it in case. But anyway, once you've pasted, backtrack, pasted your code into Jupyter, hit Shift Enter, it will execute the code. Check it in TM1, right? Go to your cube viewer or whatever reports you're looking at. Check out your data. If you're, yep, good. If you're happy with that data, then you want to delete that, what you've just written. Do a script. Go and create a new process. Right click, create a new process, right? You don't need to parameterize it. Yeah, keep it simple. Just write that line that says execute command, give it the Python script executable location, give it the full set. Now, if you're doing this and it doesn't run, it's very likely that you have made a mistake like this. Okay, this is very subtle, so let me show you. Let's call it path 2. I'm doing debugging service for you now too. How about that? How about that for the netizens out there? Okay. Execute command 2. Now, what's the problem here? Well, first of all, this script is this. I forgot the rest. Yeah, that's a basic mistake. Or what also can happen is I do this and then I do this. Guys, what's the problem here? What's the problem? The problem is my script 2 is this, and then I immediately concatenate with the script name. Well, it doesn't seem like much is wrong, but you forgot a space. Yeah, otherwise the whole thing is going to look like this, which no one can understand, right? So something to be careful of. But if you bypass that, then super easy. You just run it, test your application, test data it's updating, and if you're happy with it, then go back to the samples. That's what I recommend. You don't have to follow me. Go back to the samples, pick some other stuff that you like to try, and do one at a time. Think about your use case, how you like to update TM1. So typically it's about a read and write. Don't change dimensions yet. Of course, you can play with that, but start with data because that's easy to check whether it's working or not, right? And that's it. That's it. And we're done. So we've talked about a lot. I hope that was useful and meaningful to you. It was fun for me to do. And if you like it, please like and subscribe. I can't believe I'm saying this, but yeah, please like and subscribe. Give me some motivation to continue this because I've recorded this 4 times already due to technical difficulties just because I'm new at this. And but your support keeps me going. So thank you. Thank you to all of you for supporting me. The next video will do more. Give me some suggestions. Otherwise, I'll continue with my original plan. And I promise this time it's going to be less than 3 months until the next video. And yes, I also promise that within 2 weeks, I'm going to do another video about the new Python. So if you can't bother reading it, tune into the next one. If you like what I'm doing, check out the other videos. All right, talk to you soon.